Hey there guys, this is your host Richard. That last chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen was so jam-packed that we barely had a chance to catch our breath. Moreover, it genuinely has our heads spinning with all sorts of theories and questions regarding the battle that's currently raging on the streets of Shinjuku. I mean, if you can still call it that, given the fact that almost the entire area is utterly decimated at this point. Also, the chapter hints at the arrival of some new faces on the battlefield, which almost had us in a hype-induced coma when we first read it. So, ready yourself for some boogie-woogie, because in this video, we'll go through some theories regarding Chapter 260 that have had the internet going crazy. 259 Recap: The Flames of Shinjuku. So, to recap the entirety of 259 in a single statement, Sukuna's been on a rampage lately. Not only has he gained possession of Megumi Fushigiro's body, but he also seems to have activated the most potent of all his curse techniques, the Furnace. Now, it's no secret that Sukuna could probably defeat almost every character on the show single-handedly, but this move is definitely on a whole new level. His other techniques, Cleave and Dismantle, are just like mere precursors to this firestorm, so overpowered is just an understatement at this point. In the early pages of the chapter, it becomes evident that this is something that heroes didn't foresee despite all the preparations and soul switching. The flames descend upon the battlefield, annihilating everything within Sukuna's domain, and at first glance, the attack seems inescapable. But we soon learn that the furnace is not without its own drawbacks, as the King of Sorcerers is forced to use numerous binding vows just to maintain the range and speed of this move. When we turn to the victims of the attack, it just reinforces the sheer power of Sukuna's trick. But at the very last moment, Itadori is saved by a barrier of blood being held up by Choso. However, it's evident that this move literally takes everything the blood manipulator has, and the poor guy's body soon starts to turn into a pile of ash. As Choso and Yuji bid each other farewell, we catch a glimpse of their entirely incinerated surroundings. The only ones remaining are Sukuna and his former vessel, Yuji. For a brief moment here, it almost seems like our young hero has lost all hope. I mean, we would too, if a brother just crumpled into nothing right in front of our eyes. Luckily, Yuji is able to snap back thanks to the help of his other brother, Aoi Todo. Now, that seems to be a pretty intense setup for the forthcoming battle, but that's not all. Just before Todo appears among the ruins of Shinjuku, we get a flashback of him planning with Ms. May. The two not only figure out a way of evacuating the people stuck inside Sukuna's domain, but also hint at other plans that have been set in motion by powerhouses like Okotsu. The last page depicts the two brothers running straight at Ryuman Sukuna, who seems to be recuperating after such a massive attack. If there was ever a moment when Sukuna was vulnerable, this probably has to be it. Now that we're done with the recap, let's look at a couple of details that could hint at a string of new possibilities for the crazy world of sorcerers. What'll happen in Chapter 260? So, if you've watched our breakdown of Chapter 259, which you really should, it'd actually become evident that Gege has left a lot of clues regarding what might go down in the Shinjuku Showdown arc in the coming chapters. Let's begin by addressing the teary-eyed elephant in the room, Choso's untimely demise. The death seems pretty final, and Jujutsu Kaisen fans have kinda grown used to having their favorite characters killed off at a moment's notice over the years. Seriously, Gege is something of a prodigy when it comes to knocking off fictional characters. Thus, it seems pretty unlikely that we'll ever see Choso in action again. Well, at least not in the present. He might pop up here and there in flashbacks and exposition dumps, but those don't really count. But there's one thing that makes Choso kinda different, at least in comparison to the rest of the sorcerers that have perished over the years. Since that man's like a living death painting womb, he'd always been only half human. The rest of him is more akin to a cursed spirit, but you wouldn't guess that because of his lack of an inherent desire to kill people. Thus, it's possible that Choso's consciousness has managed to survive in some form or another, perhaps like Sukuna managed to survive in those disgusting cursed fingers. That's quite a long shot, to be honest. I mean, the skill level of these two guys isn't even comparable, and Sukuna just seems to be getting stronger by the day. Despite this, the theory has grown quite popular amongst fans, and to be honest, the brothers getting back together might just be the most wholesome moment of all time. Next, we have Todo's appearance on the battlefield, and this one really has our anxiety peaking. The last we saw of Todo and Itadori, they were running full tilt at the maniacal King of Sorcerers. It's not the most clever move, I guess, but it does create something of an impact. However, from what we've seen so far, things aren't really going well for Itadori's comrades. This, combined with Gege Akatsumi's fascination with killing off fan-favorite characters, actually has us a bit worried about Todo's fate. It's certain from his conversations with Mei that Todo does have a plan to take down Sukuna, but plans have a way of falling apart in the face of the most malicious force the world has ever seen. Needless to say, this will provide Yuji with some more character development. I mean, how many brothers can a man lose in a single fight without completely going off the rails? In any case, it seems that this battle is going to take both an emotional and physical toll on all our heroes. Fans have been speculating about all the possible ways to defeat Sukuna ever since he was introduced to the show. After all, defeating the most powerful sorcerer of all time is bound to take some planning and quite a few tricks. Strangely, the end of Chapter 259 might be one of the few times we've seen the king so vulnerable. It's clear clear that his endless reserves of cursed energy have been depleted after the use of the furnace, and Ryomen is definitely looking for some time to cool off after such a powerful attack. If Todo and Itadori can utilize this chance effectively, they might just be able to corner their all-powerful foe, and it's not like Sukuna can't be hurt. I mean, we just saw him struggle with a barrage of black flashes just a couple of chapters ago. If Todo and Yuji are able to use their curse technique in conjunction, it's quite possible that a single well-placed blow might take Sukuna's head off. Now that would be a sight to behold. Well, whichever way this battle goes, one thing is for certain. Todo is definitely going to ask the infamous King of Sorcerers about the kind of women he likes. Inappropriate? Yeah, but come on. Can you even think of something as wildly entertaining as Todo and Sukuna talking about girls stalling for time in the middle of the largest battle in the series? Also, there's one thing we overlooked about the flashback where Todo and Ms. May are discussing their evacuation plans. Keen-eyed viewers might notice the peculiar use of the word resonance while talking about the connection between Yuji and Sukuna. Now, this might not amount to much by itself, but in the world, Jujutsu Kaisen resonance is actually the primary technique of a certain hammer wielder whom we haven't seen in quite a while, since the Shibuya incident to be exact. Of course, we're talking about Nobara, who's basically been missing in action ever since she fought Mahito. Many fans have been hyped for her triumphant return, and it seems like we might see her soon, given that the Battle of Shinjuku is now reaching its zenith. But yeah, that's another one of those things that only Gege can confirm. But please, Sensei, just don't kill her off. Marvelous verdicts. So yeah, those are our few predictions for the future of Jujutsu Kaisen's forthcoming chapters. But to be honest, things are going at such an intense pace right now that it's difficult to keep all the narrative threads untangled. The only man who can solve these mysteries is Gege, and all we have to do is wait another week for chapter 260 to drop. Until then, let us know about your crazy theories in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on all the developments in Jujutsu world. That's it for now, and we'll catch you at the next one. Consider that our binding vow.